Hey, American Prepper here. Just want to talk to you about some of this great migration that's occurring across this country here in the United States. And whether we realize it or not, I would call what's happening strategic relocation. You know, people are examining their current lives, sort of coming up with a vision for what would make their life better, and then seeking out the best place, best state, region, community, city, neighborhood, home, property that vision fits into, that would fulfill that vision. We don't really call it that, but that's what I call it. It's a strategic relocation. And you know, for those who are doing it, my wife and I, we did something like that about 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago. And we undertook that process about 7 or 8 years ago, and we're very methodical about it. We were residing in northern Nevada at the time, just on the east slope of the Sierra Nevadas. Beautiful little place. We called it the best kept secret in California, even though it was in Nevada, because it was right on the edge of all the beauty of California, but sitting in a state with no state income tax, great gun laws, you know, beautiful outdoor scenery, recreation. You know, at the time, that was what we were looking for, and it worked out real well. Still a beautiful place. So anyway, we were looking for land. We were looking to raise our children on more land, looking to live a lifestyle in sort of a particular way. Wanted to be a little more self-sufficient, just that kind of stuff. And we're taking all the many things into account that go into that, from climate to taxes, as we are, you know, self-employed small business owners of multiple businesses, and you know, the culture, the cost of living, you know, all the things that one considers. And we love the West. Our family was out from the West. We traveled the West a lot. So we looked in Oregon and Washington and Idaho and Montana and Wyoming, and, you know, really covered the whole gamut. Colorado, Texas, you know, everywhere that people generally consider, and landed in, of course, the great state of Tennessee. It wasn't even on my radar because I didn't want to live east of the Mississippi. And yet I had been there in the past, or been here in the past, professionally in the music industry a long time ago. I knew it was beautiful, and it was green and lush in the summer, and spring and fall it was beautiful, and generally the weather was great, and people were great, and, you know, the Bible Belt, and all that's, you know, good culture and cost of living. So when we sort of like, well, what about this? And we took a peek. Oh man, did it? This is what we were looking for. After searching all those other places and not finding just that right fit, it was like, man, I had a chip on my shoulder about being east of the Mississippi, and I was ready to set that aside real quick once I went down that list and was like, oh man, Tennessee is the place to be. Like it fits all of our needs. But what I want to talk about today, kind of in coordination with the strategic relocation concept, is the central bank digital currency. And this is a niche thing. I don't expect to get 100 views on this. If it hits home with one person, and I won't ever know if it did, and I don't care. Like, I just know I need to make this video and put this information out there for somebody to digest. But if it hits home with one person, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. So the central bank digital currency is going to make it very difficult for freedom-loving people to live life the way that they see fit. There's going to be an enormous ability in it's hard to put into words the ability to control people that will give the power players, the authorities. And we don't have any concept of that as Americans. We just, you know, when I say, oh, it'd be like China, you don't know what it's like to live in China. You know, you don't know what it's like to have lived through, communist rule in Russia. And the truth is it's gonna be worse than most of history. Only now in the last decade has the technology existed for what is going on in the CCP and Chinese Communist Party rule of the great people of China. There is no comparison, and believe me, they're showing restraint in China because they're under the microscope of the global eye. If it was too out of control, we would know and we wouldn't be about it. But it will be a lot worse when the West falls. And we are witnessing that right now with our very own eyes. It's happening now. So this is one man's take, but what I have seen as a realtor, as a transplant to the southeast region of the United States, is it's a home run as far as the ability to live off the land. It's a phenomenal spot from what the land offers, from what the climate offers. Steady rains, summer rains, good for growing, good temperatures, mild winters, but 4 seasons. It hits a home run there. Culturally, even better. A culture that is used to that it is only one generation removed. Like grandma and grandpa are still canning and gardening like nobody's business. You know what I mean? It is still the norm for people to put away food. It is still the norm for people to live in conjunction with or coordination with the land, to whether they're producing livestock or fruits and vegetables or hunting or all of the above. It is a great spot. And even more importantly, the amount of people, not only culturally, that are rooted in, when I say culturally, like what already exists here. Obviously, the transplants will, in some way, affect the culture of the South. I hope in a positive way. Change is the only sure thing, right? But the culture here, the already existing culture, is not one to be swayed easily. They're rooted in family, they're rooted in community, they're rooted in their churches, they're rooted in the land. And that's a good base foundation. Now, even better, and I'm a little biased here, but I've gotten to meet so many transplants, either ones I helped relocate or ones I didn't. And these folks are laser focused on their vision. They have come from places where they have watched what authoritarianism, progressivism, general tyranny has taken over. General lawlessness and chaos has run rampant, and they intend on protecting the sanctity of freedom and liberty in their new home. And I think that that's probably happening in a lot of states, but I'm speaking about Tennessee right now. So not to discount, patriots and great Americans and other that have relocated to other areas or those areas, but I can speak about Tennessee, and it is a powerhouse, and I don't even really buy into a whole lot of party affiliation. I think the Republican Party has sold its people down the river, the American people down the river 10 too many times. However, I'll be honest with you and be open. It's no secret. I have conservative, traditional American values as a person, as a private citizen. Now, I don't care. You can be you. But what I love about living here is that the great majority of people share in that. I've lived in places where I was the minority. So don't, you can get on me all you want, but I know what it's like to live with the scum and the debaucherous lowlifes running the world. And I got tired of it. And I left California and went to Nevada. And then before you knew it, y'all ruined that place too. and I came to Tennessee. And I'm like so many others, I am not unique. This is just a profile of one person, yet many are like me. We're not moving again. We're not running again from you. We're not giving you room to ruin another place. And that is such a powerful thread of the energy that's coursing through Middle Tennessee and the transplants here, that it is so encouraging and heartening to see and be a part of, because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my children and my children's children. So it's encouraging to know that there are others reinforcing and furthering, the ideals of freedom and liberty here. So when it comes to central bank digital currencies and strategic relocation, one of, if not the most important thing, is who are your neighbors going to be? And I don't mean neighbors left and right of you, that's important too, but I mean collectively, the community, the state, the region, and this is the place to be. Definitely one of them, So when you're looking at that stuff, I would highly encourage you to look for the people that are going to stand up, the people that are not going to turn their backs on you, the ones that you can count on when the chips are down. And it has been so cool to see so many great people finding, and I believe the Lord is leading them here, making Middle Tennessee, and southern Middle Tennessee to be specific, their new home, and digging in. So I'll leave it at that. We'll talk more. Throw your questions or comments in the bottom where you end up. Have you strategically relocated? Tell me where you ended up. Tell me what you think about your community. I'd love to hear it. I'm all for this happening everywhere. I just happen to live in Tennessee.